Welcome everyone to this live stream, and today I'm going to go over the last games of the 2022 three-move World Championship match between Sergio Scarpetta and Alex Moiseyev. But before we get into these games, I want to pause and congratulate not only Sergio and Alex for putting on what I think is a historic and certainly a world championship for the ages. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that. I think it truly was an epic and fantastic match. But I also want to thank everyone that contributed along the way, and that includes Charles Walker for hosting it at the International Checkers Hall of Fame in Petal, Mississippi, Brian Hinkle, who also served as a referee along with Charles, Jim Loy, countless people watching the games and the commentary. It was truly a great collaborative effort. A lot of fantastic checkers was shared along the way, new lines of play, great analyses. So it was a fantastic effort by everyone involved. And truly, it was a world-class event, and it was world-class checkers to boot. The games were, again, beyond phenomenal, and both Sergio and Alex should be commended for their play here. Sergio, congratulations on defending your world championship. And Alex, congratulations to you for putting on one heck of a challenge. So as we get into these games, I'm highlighting a position on the board that if any of you are watching, and I know there were many, many watching late into the evening for game 27, and even in the middle of the night for those overseas, as there were a lot overseas. Hugh Devlin, I know, was watching, many other players too. This is the pivotal position here, with Sergio up 3-2, and Alex is commanding the white pieces with the strong side of the twilight zone. Hey, Hamza, welcome. Welcome everyone joining in to the chat. And again, this will be recorded so you can go back and rewatch anything as well. So welcome for those of you just joining. I'm talking about the pivotal position here at the end of game 27. And this position generated a lot of commentary, mostly what Alex played at this point in the game. And what Alex did after this, and again, this was a marathon game. This game lasted several hours. Alex played, of course, this 22-26, which will draw after the very deceptive and very nice 12-16 pitch, and then going into the breaches. So this was incredibly painful for Alex. It was, everyone watching in the chat was absolutely shocked here. I can't even fathom being, well, I can fathom being at least, blunder type moves. We've all done that as checker players, but at this highest level, I can't fathom the emotions and the thoughts that Alex was going through at this time. He composed himself with dignity and with the world-class caliber champion player that he is. And again, this happens to us all, but this was an incredibly painful moment. At dinner that night, Brian Hinkle let me know he asked Alex how he would rate this blunder of a move, and I'll set the position back up so we can take another look at it. And he asked Alex, how would you rate this blunder? And Alex, 1 out of 10, with 1 being the barely a blunder at all and 10 being the worst blunder. Alex commented he would rate this move as a 10. And this will definitely go down, and one for the ages is probably one of the bigger blunders of all time. Of course, you could argue that the biggest world championship blunder of all time was the 1958 Oldbury-Tinsley World Championship match, where Tinsley blundered into the triple jump with the 5-9 move. That's regarded as one of the biggest blunders, but this will certainly be up there. Yeah, Hamza, I'm actually just starting, so you haven't really missed anything here. This is just the position. I'll go over the game in full, or at least most of it. The ending, there's some missing moves, and I want to make sure everything's accurate. So, but I'll play up to a certain point. But just want to start out with this position because I think this really was the match. With Sergio able to draw with the weak side here, he won the next game with the strong side to go up 4-2, and ultimately he won the match 4-2 with 25 draws. Now, had Alex won, tied the match at 3 games apiece, Sergio still may have won this next game to go up 4-3, but it paints a completely different picture here and what the story is. So who knows? We'll never know in history. So instead of this 22-26, White can play a couple different things here. White can play 27-23, which will still win, or probably this maybe more natural 20-24, because that also prevents red going onto any of these squares. Brian also asked Sergio later on about this 20-24 move. And he told Brian, had Alex made this move, he would have resigned the game. So again, it just makes it all the more painful, this circumstance here. But again, it happens to us all. I know a lot of us, it doesn't matter who you were rooting for in this match. I think we were all rooting for really good checkers, and that's what we got. It's still very painful for Alex, and I think a lot of us felt that pain. It's just, yeah, it's very sad. But if Alex plays this 20-24 move, really red has to retreat. And then, and now, and only now, can you play the exchange? I know at the chat, or in the chat during the time, there was some question about whether this trade will be a draw. I was talking with Tim Lafferty about it as well. And the move is correct. The move is correct for this to be a winning sequence. Where it's not a winning sequence, and what I think was some level of concern throughout the match, was whether or not the move was in place. For example, if we set the checkers up like this, and it's red's move to win, red's move, red can draw. Red can draw just by going in clearly for a king here with 12-16. But if it's white's move, white will win, and white can win here. Yes, thanks, Ali. Thanks for joining the chat, and I appreciate everyone coming into the chat. I'm sure we'll have some more folks come in and out, but I appreciate it. This will be recorded as well, so you can go back and watch this commentary and analysis. So it just goes to show one move is all the difference in the world. If it's white's move, white will win, and if it's red's move, red will draw. But let's set it up one more time. Let's go back to the position here. So if red does in fact retreat, you can exchange with the king. And then if red wants to put up some more resistance, white is just going to ultimately corner it. And again, this piece cannot go anywhere at this point, because the overall strategy here for white is to pin both of these pieces ultimately in a situation like this and run out of moves for red. So that is how white is going to win here. And then white is just going to win because, again, this piece cannot advance because white has the move on it. So let's go back to the start of that. I wanted to get that position out of the way because, again, it was probably the most talked about during the live stream at the time. And along with game 23, one of the more, if not the most pivotal game in the entire match. So I'll show it from Alex's perspective so you can see the winning move that he made earlier on in the game. So the Twilight Zone is this opening right here. And I have this opening in my top 10 toughest openings video. So I recommend watching that if you want to see what other really tough openings there are. This is one of the toughest openings in the deck. I believe Clint Olson was saying from a wins-loss perspective, this was the second toughest opening. And Alex, even after talking with Alex in the past, he had told me that he rates this as one of the toughest ballots as well in the entire deck. And also, there's really not a whole lot of, I don't know if you want to call it strategy, but a lot of the moves in this opening are incredibly unnatural. Hey, Thomas, good to see you. Thanks for hopping in. And it really is, checkers is not a memory game. It's really not. At its core, it's about what you see over the board. Yes, having published play knowledge and remembering certain lines of play can be advantageous to you, but this opening, it requires many unnatural moves to draw from the red side and many star moves, sometimes consecutive star move after star move. And it's really hard to develop a defensive strategy with it. You just have to know what moves will draw. And it's very, very difficult, even at the highest level. So I wanted to give you all some background there, just a little bit more information about this opening. Again, it's called the Twilight Zone. If you want to read more about it, there's quite a bit of literature on it. You can go to Bob Newell's Checker Maven. Richard Pask does a phenomenal job covering a lot of these lines of play, especially in regards to the newer openings. So after the exchange, now many of you are probably thinking, well, all right, always go to the center, right? The side captures are no good. Hey, Alex, thanks for joining. Good to see you all here. The center jump is probably most natural, but actually in this case, the center jump is very bad. I was talking with Jonathan Chappell. I always thought that the center jump was actually a losing jumping sequence, but it may be a technical draw, and it very well may be. The winning sequence is not this natural 22-17, although this is very good as well. The natural sequence here is actually this 23-18, which should secure a significant, if not winning, game for white. So again, going back to what I was saying earlier about the Twilight Zone, unnatural star moves are the key in this opening. Natural moves just aren't going to cut it. So we go back now. Instead of the 18-15 natural capture, the side capture with 7-16 is best. And yeah, this is one of those things where it's just having that knowledge. And it's going to take a lot of study and a lot of preparation, which obviously these two players, Alex Moiseyev and Sergio Scarpetta, clearly are heads and shoulders above the rest. And it just shows that, yeah, it's just published play knowledge. So Alex attacks with 28-24 and then the 16-19 exchange. So we are getting a little bit more natural here from red, just trying to get the center square here. But that's about where the natural moves end for red, at least in this opening. So Alex plays this 21-17 move, which I think is actually credited to him. I believe either Richard Pask credits him this, or it's in Tommy's compilations book. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe someone can verify that in the chat. But I believe this 21-17 is credited to him. With the correct response now for red, this unnatural 2-7. I mean, incredibly an unnatural move here. But instead, Sergio plays 8-11, which looks way more natural than the 2-7. And then Alex is going to command the center square with 17-14. And then Sergio follows up with 4-8, which a lot of us in the chat, Richard Beckwith I know as well, was kind of thinking maybe this is a questionable move. The defense is starting to become a little less stable at this point after the 27-23 press. Now, a lot of people in the chat were speculating, where is Sergio going to go next? The 6-9 looks interesting. I mean, it definitely doesn't look very, very good either. And of course, red cannot play 11-16 because you have the pitch here with 14-10. So a really pretty pitch in that situation. But Sergio plays 2-7, which is the best move on the board. And then once again, Alex is just going to go toward the center. His position is very strong. Nothing is really weak here. Hey, Johnny, welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining. Just talking about game 27 here, pivotal game 27. Sergio goes 8-11. And Alex spent some time here looking at both 25-21 and 26-23, but building the column toward the double corner is very strong. It's very tempting. It's very difficult to pass up. Sergio played the 6-9, which he thought was the losing move. It may not be 100% losing again. The database computers will reflect whether it is truly a losing move or not. I don't think it is, but he did at the time thought this was the losing move. And then after 23-19, again, white just bearing down on red's single corner. Sergio does play this 1-6 will, which is a loss. It is a loss. Instead, maybe this 2024 move could potentially be the saving grace. And the two players talked about it after the game. But I think Sergio was afraid of this 32-28. I believe that's what he was saying. He was afraid of this move being stranded here. I think after this, again, we'll have to go through the play. I mean, this will probably be worth a separate video anyways, just going through this game and the end game in full. But I believe, the 7-10, I don't know. It's definitely worth something. But instead, this 1-6 is played. And then after the 19-15, not a whole lot of places for Sergio to go. He goes 13-17. And then the correct 18-15 to secure the draw. You can see the 2 for 2 here with 25-22 next. And now Sergio is going to just wait. Alex waits as well. Alex can also play 31-27 here. I think a lot of people were saying, why doesn't he do that? Because it kind of creates a mini bridge. But I mean, it's all winning anyways. So at this point, again, the games are recorded, but I think there are maybe a couple errors in it, and I want to make sure I get this end game 100% correct. So I won't play it 100% out from here. But I think the point here from Alex's perspective is he is going to get a king majority, and he has these two pieces on the side of the board with this piece unable to advance, and obviously this piece in the dog hole cannot advance. And he's ultimately going to crown these two pieces, and Sergio is going to crown his two pieces. So we're going to have a 3 kings versus 2 kings majority, and again with these two pieces as a liability. It's a loss. It is an absolute loss at this point. And I believe the ending is something like this. But again, it's worth a completely separate deep dive that I'll probably put in my endgame videos. Nevertheless, a lot of people in the chat were saying, yeah, Alex has this. This is a sure win. And Alex being one of the best endgame players in the world, I think we all just assumed it. A lot of the computers were giving it 100% win in the database, and that's all well and good. But look, even the best players in the world, this is not an easy ending at all. When I was watching this live, I was watching it all unfold. Again, having the general strategy, as long as you know what to do, which again, what you need to do is just crown these two pieces and then have these two pieces on the side. Then it's just tactical, reducing the pieces and making sure that your strategy comes together and it works. It's a lot easier said than done. And it was, again, very painful. Richard Pass described it as tragic for Alex. I wholeheartedly concur. It was just, it happens. It happens to the best of us. But I wanted to at least start with that ending because I know that was the most talked about during the match and certainly at the time. So hopefully you all can see kind of the winning sequence there, delaying the trade until the piece is either back in the double corner or over here so that you don't have that 12-16 pitch anymore. It looked like Sergio was setting that up with his deceptive 6-10 move and then allowing the 12-16. So again, really, really interesting. And, it doesn't matter who you were rooting for. We're rooting for really good checkers, and I think everyone was really feeling it for Alex. So let's go to the other side now with how Sergio won game 28. And again, the wilderness, it's a brutal, brutal opening. And when it was balloted with Alex down 3-2, a lot of people thought, myself included, well, maybe he can get a win on the white side, even the score up at three games apiece. And then let's see what Sergio does with the strong side. And of course, Sergio won with the strong side. So maybe it is all a moot point at the very end of the day, but it's just worth thinking about and speculating. So again, the twilight zone, and then the correct side jump capture. 22-18, which is really probably the prime attack here in this opening. 28-24 is also very good. And actually, when I was messaging with Jonathan Chappell, he thought Alex would play this 28-24. But 22-18 was played here by Sergio. And then, of course, getting to the natural 16 square next. This is a key component in this game. So this is probably the only natural move, maybe, in the entire game for red. Sergio starts a runoff with 27-24. Actually, no, I apologize. And again, I have some of the games listed on my side here, so I want to make sure I get the moves correctly. No, so he actually plays 25-22 first, and then 5-9 by Alex, followed by 27-24. Alex goes 3-7 next. And then 32-27, 7-10. Alex had been here before, I believe, against Mickey Borghetti back in the 2011 World Championship match. So he was at least in some familiar territory here. 29-25, 1-5, 18-14 exchange. And then here's where Alex faltered. The correct move on the board, again, extremely unnatural, is this 8-11 exchange. So this is the key move that we'll draw, and this is from the 2003-2004 ID book that contains a lot of these. Well, I guess they were unbarred at the time, but they contain a lot of the former barred opening play from the male matches. So this 8-11 instead we'll draw, but 10-14, again, it looks natural. Like, you want to capture this center square, but after 27-23, the whole game kind of falls apart for red. Red can't cover up with 8-12 because white can just go in 15-11, and it's a further broken game. So after 2-7, the capture, and the 2-for-2 now with 8-11, but too little too late. Sergio going 25-22 and then having to protect something here because you have obviously a triple jump if nothing happens on this square. So Alex goes 6-10. I think 7-10 offers also some resistance, but it all ultimately is the same in the end. Sergio goes 26-23, enticing the 2-for-2, but again, it's no good in the end anyways. But after 26-23, 7-11, and then Sergio just exchanges off. Hey, Shane. Good to see you. Good to see you, Shane. Long time no talk. I hope you're doing well, my friend. After the 28-24 exchange, it's hopeless for red. Doesn't matter where red goes, it's going to run out of moves. No. 11-15. I mean, it's no good. So Alex resigned at that point and ultimately went down 4-2, and that's what the match ended up being, a 4-2. So again, really, really tough opening. One of the toughest in the entire deck, and Alex's misfortune in game 27 and then losing game 28. That's the fate of the World Championship right now. So those are those two games. I want to go and talk about the morning session games where they balloted 12-16, 22-18, and 16-20, which is regarded as a rest opening, if you will. Not too many chances. And Alex played a really, I guess you call it a secondary Pioneer line, maybe one that isn't as seen as much. I don't cover it in my Master Pioneer videos, but it's another good variation. And here's the opening. And when Sergio had the white side, Sergio played this 18-14 move, which after the runoff is just a pure draw, not a whole lot of scope there. But Alex from the white side plays 25-22, which more oftentimes than not will lead into the Pioneer. Sergio plays 8-12 and then 22-17, and we're in the Pioneer at this point. So it was just a matter of who was going to play. You know, they likely were not going to play straight published play, straight out of the book. There was going to be some change, and I think we were all watching and anticipating who was going to be the first one to deviate and try something new. So, of course, as many of you know, this is very, very typical Pioneer play here. Nothing out of the ordinary at this point. Again, this is a formation, one to study. It can be brought up from many different openings. So, again, highly recommend taking a really thorough analysis and understanding these lines and these sequences. So the 2 for 2 next. And now here we are, the first variation. Alex plays 28-24. This move, as Richard Beckwith noted in the chat at the time, this is in Reisman's Pioneer, in his Pioneer System book. And this was played somewhat recently, I believe he had said. I can't recall. I think maybe he actually played this somewhat recently. And the easiest way to reply is what Sergio did, and that's this 8-12. 11-15 can also be played. But what it does is it entices red to further march toward the king row, and then now white has a decided advantage. Instead of this 28-24, this 26-23 move is probably more customary, more regularly seen in published play. And this is what I cover in one of my videos for the Pioneer Master System. But instead, this 28-24, it's a good vary. And Sergio goes 8-12, and then following up with 24-19. After 11-15, now backing with 32-28 and the captures. 3-8 next, not 3-7 because of the elbow here, but 3-8 next. And now 27-23. Not 8-11 because you have the 2 for 1, so no good. So instead, moving 20-24. Now, as Rich pointed out in Reisman's Pioneer, this 19-15 move will also work. This will also draw because, again, this piece is trapped here on this side. So 19-15 will also draw, but 19-16 instead was played in the game. After 8-12, forcing 16-11, now red can exchange this piece off and get a king. And now what white wants and what it hopes to do is to get behind these red pieces. So instead of going 11-8, 11-7 is played with the hope to do some serious damage here. But there's a nice tactical play that Sergio does, and that is this 10-15 move, forcing the capture, and now 18-15 with this white piece trapped. This white piece cannot do anything here. White crowns, and then white can immediately press or look to press, but Alex goes 24-21st, and then they played a few more moves out, but the game is a really good solid draw. Hi, Timothy. Your master. Unimproved checkers. Oh, yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah, and hey, well, thanks for being here. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel, and hope you enjoy. Yeah, if you have any questions about checkers, I mean, we're a collaborative group here. We're all friends, and we welcome all players. So, thanks so much for joining. So again, this was a really good vary from Alex, and Sergio knew the play, and it resulted in a draw. So that, for the records, that was game, just want to make sure I verified, that was game 26 in the morning session. So let's go to game 29. That's game 29 was really Alex's kind of last chance to make any kind of movement here. And the opening they ballotted was an unrestricted opening, which Alex is probably not happy with, seeing as Sergio is also an expert in unrestricted style as well. And actually, I think Sergio is the unrestricted world champion. I believe, unless Condolo is. I may be misspeaking. I should know this, but I don't really follow unrestricted play all that much, as some of you know from the channel. So let's go with this opening, and I'll show from the other side. I know I've been showing you all from the white perspective, but I'll show it from the red perspective too in some of these games. So the opening they got was 9-14, 22-17, and 11-15. Classic unrestricted opening. Really usually seen from 11-15, 22-17, and 9-14, and it can lead to a lot of different play here. Red has all the scope, and white just has to really see whatever red wants to play. So Alex plays probably the most restrictive move on the board with 25-22. In his game with the red pieces, he played the 15-19 move, which is also very good. So after 8-11, 29-25, 4-8, 23-19, and now we are into the suitor here. We are into the suitor. It is Condolo. Thanks, Shane, for correcting me there. And yeah, I should know that. I don't. Okay. Thanks so much. Yeah, Zebra. Thanks. Yeah. Again, I should know the timeline, but unrestricted play, I don't. I just don't know it as well. So okay. So Condolo is the unrestricted go as you please world champion, and Sergio is the 3-move world champion, and Alex Moiseyev is the 11-man bout world champion. So all the titles are separated across. Okay, so now we get into the suitor with 6-9, 17-13, and then Alex plays 26-23, which is a good vary. This is also seen in published play. Probably more customary is this 24-20 move, but again, I am not a unrestricted go as you please specialist here, so this is just what I have seen and what I think I know about the suitor. So after 26-23, the 14-18 move is played, resulting in a 2-for-2. After the exchanges, actually, I want to make sure I have this 100% correct here. I feel like I may be missing something here. Let me see. 22-15. Yeah, no, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, this jump is played next. Actually, you know what? Let's I want to start this from the top. Again, it just goes to show I just not as familiar with go as you please, and I want to make sure I get these moves right. Okay, so let's start from top here. Okay, no, 14-17 is played, not 14-18. I don't know what I was thinking there. 14-17. Okay. Now we have this sequence. Okay, yeah, this is looking right now. Okay, there we go. And now you have the. Okay, Shane, that's right. So Condolo Bernini, they're playing later this year. Yeah, and I believe that was scheduled. That had to be rescheduled, I think, a couple times too, I think. So, okay, now we're correct here. So now we have, at this point, we have the, let's see. Yes, now I believe we have this 14-18. Yes, correct. (30-26), 8-11, 24-19, 11-16, and then this 26-23, and then Alex, I believe, waits 3-7. Yes, this is another good kind of tactical example here. After 3-7, white jumps. And then, of course, now red can regain the piece by going 6-9. And after 25-21, the timing is just right for red or for white to secure the draw. And then they played a few more moves out, but the game was a draw at this point. So that was very interesting. Go as you please opening. Again, I'm sure Alex was not too terribly thrilled. I'll show it from the other side now so that you can see what Alex played from. And this next game, when Alex had the red pieces, I think was actually the shortest game in the entire match, I believe. So again, 9-14, 22-17, 11-15, 25-22, and then you have this double exchange. Also very good, well known in published play. I believe Sergio played the 21-17, 5-9, 27-24, 2-6, the exchange here. And then after 7-10, 30-25, and then 6-10, and they called it a draw at this point. Yeah, so this is just, again, Sergio is just looking to draw here, and there's really not a whole lot of tremendous scope for the red side. So, again, after 18-14 was played, they just called it a draw. I do want to highlight the last game of the match. In the last game, game 31 was played just to see if there would be a split in prize money. Sergio had already retained the title, but if Alex won game 31 and game 32 as well, they would split the prize money. So let's go over that because it does feature a relatively new defense. Alex said that he plays this 12-16 new defense online from time to time, but I think it's the first time it's ever been seen at the highest level. This opening is actually, it's known for kind of its revolutionary new moves. Asa Long was able to beat Walter Hellman, I think, back in 1948 for the white side in that World Championship match. But the opening is 9-14, 22-17, and 6-9. And then after 17-13, white goes 1-6. This is also the same as 9-14, 22-17, and 5-9, 17-13, and 1-6. The typical play with 6-9 being played first is you usually had this 26-22 move as best. Alex, and this is all published in 6th, so I recommend checking it out. Instead of some weaker lines which are seen with 11-15, it can be a bit of a struggle for red. This 2-6 move is Alex's cook, and there's a lot of really good moves here. I think either 24-19 or 24-20 are best next. But instead, so we have the 17-13, and then 1-6, 25-22, 24-19 is also good and seen a lot as well. But 25-22 is kind of the customary standard reply. And here we go with this new defense. Now, typically over the years, this 10-15 move is seen as the customary reply. And then Ace Long's 30-25 move, which at the time was a cook, he played that against Walter Hellman and ended up winning that game. And again, I believe it's that 1948 match. Someone in the chat can correct me. I'm glad Shane is here. Shane, hopefully you're still watching. Patrick, number of other folks. Zebra, yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. So 10-15. 10-14 is seen weaker, but I've actually seen this move not just online, but played in tournaments as well. And John Webster played this move against me a few years ago in a North Carolina tournament, and it's kind of the old defense, but it's sound. It's all good. Even 11-15, it's all good. But Alex plays this 12-16 move. Brand new defense, sound. It works. And I think he was just at this point obviously doing anything he could to find a winning chance. So what White does, what Sergio does, is he plays kind of this natural binding move. Usually when 12-16 is played, the bind with the side move is typically best. After 8-12, again, just developing these natural moves, 28-24, 3-8, and then 24-19. And these are typical formations you see once you start developing 12-16, 24-20, 8-12, 28-24. This is all very typical. Patrick, Detroit 1948. Okay, yeah, so it was 1948. Okay. And 12-16 is a program move. Well, yeah, it's okay, if it's a program move, King's Row, I'm guessing, yeah, like 16 is quite common in Italian checkers. Oh, wow. Shane, thanks for passing that nugget along. That's interesting. Shane is okay. So 12-16 is the usual published plan. Okay, in Italian checkers. I'm guessing that has to do with. I mean, the endings, of course, and the rules are completely different. But I'm guessing that probably there must be some kind of king. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, Italian. I've dabbled in some Italian checkers. It's an interesting game. You just have to know the rules really well because they differ considerably, especially in the end game between the two games. So that's good to know, Shane. So obviously he was familiar with 12-16 to some degree. So after the bind with 24-19, you have now the 11-15 break is necessary. We balloted. Oh, wow. Twice. You bouted it twice. Oh, my goodness. Shane, did you get all draws? All draws against him? I imagine you did. I like the opening. It's one of my more favorite openings here. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is crazy, yeah. Patrick, I mean, yeah, he's machine-like in a lot of ways. I mean, Alex Moiseyev is too. Okay, yeah, Shannon, that's awesome. For those of you that don't know in the chat, Shane is a grandmaster in checkers. I believe he may be the only grandmaster viewing at this point. So that's great, Shane. Thanks so much for contributing that. So after 11-15 break. Jumping 8-15. Now, sometimes in these situations, you see all the captures being taken place, but it's probably not. Actually, I may be missing something here. Yeah, no, I think this capture was taken. Let's start over. I'm paying too much attention to the chat. I'm not focused as much on the board. Let's start over there. So 9-14. Okay, here we go. And the 11-15 break, and now the 20-11. Yeah, this is right. I'm messing up my jumps. Okay. Yeah. Now you have 20-16, which can be played, which is invading again the single corner here. And then Alex is just going to get rid of this invading piece on 16 by trading out 7-11. Sergio is, again, looking to attack this kind of core here. He has a lot of leverage, a lot of opportunities. But then after 31-26, of course, yes, 14-17. And then 23-18 is played, and then you have this kind of tactical play here. And actually, this is an instructive ending. I will go in this ending. It's pretty instructive. Alex goes 6-9 to expose this elbow here, and then waits with 4-8, and then getting the. So this is an instructive ending. So I will play it out because it shows that yes, white does have the bridge, but red can break it with expert play here. So white crowns. And now red needs to get a piece on square 23 to do anything at all with the bridge. So that's exactly what happens here. So now we have the piece on 23. And now what white needs to do is it starts to need to bring this piece to get another king. So the white king plants itself on square 14 so that this piece can march on in. But the timing is just right for red to secure the draw. After 8-11, 13-9, 11-15. And now you can break the bridge with 23-26. The other way will not work because this king can go back. So instead of breaking this way, gives protection now on this square by pressing this piece. So Sergio goes 32-27 after the crown, but then after the 19-16 move, it is just it's a draw. They agreed to a draw here, and that ended the match. So very, very interesting. So again, I know we've had some people funnel in and out. I've gone over a handful of games here from this last set. I'll pause if there's a game you want me to go over. Yeah, Sergio's 32-27 restricts. Yeah, it does. Yeah, because it forces the reply. It forces it. It's still a draw. It's a pure draw, but it forces the reply. But I'm happy to go over any games, whether it's from his last 8 or last 7 or anyone from the previous matches. So how I can use that. Yeah, well, it's a good waiting move, Patrick. It's a great waiting move, the 32. If you look at my, so I believe it was the Ed Bruck game. The Ed Bruck game from 1988 that I have against Paul Davis. I have that in my classic checker videos. There's a similar kind of theme with that 32-27, using that as a powerful waiting move. So yeah, it's a great game. Let me I'll show you Sergio style. I'll show you the red side from that game 27, just so you can see it from his perspective. But also pay attention to the chat if any of you would want to talk about a particular position or game. I'm here for it. Again, just an epic world title match. We were all in for a treat seeing the two best living players in the world today, in my opinion. Of course, that's not a slight to Conlo, Mateo, anyone else. It's not, but it's just fantastic checkers. All right, so from Sergio's side, with this Twilight Zone. And then this 21-17 move. Again, I believe, because I don't know the published play all that well here, but the 2-7 I believe is the best move on the board to play at this point. Sergio plays 8-11, which again looks natural, looks good, doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. Now white can dominate with 17-14. After 4-8, 22-18. And then I may be missing a move here. I may have missed a move. Again, I'm going too fast and I'm paying too much attention to the chat. 4-8. Yeah, so 27. It's now white's move. Right. What am I here? Let's start. I'm sorry. Usually I'm much better about this, especially in a live stream. So I apologize, my friends. Just want to make sure I get all this correct. It's a lot of checkers, and I've gone over a lot of these games, and it all sometimes will blur together. So appreciate everyone's patience here. I'm also used to doing shorthand with the jumping, so I think that's throwing me off too. Okay, so there, 17-14, and then 4-8. Okay, no, so 27-23 is played before 22-18. That's the issue. Okay, that was throwing me off. So again, 11-16 cannot be played because you have the 14-10 move. So again, 2-7 is now played. Now 22-18, 8-11, and then 26-23, again, creating a column here, directed right toward the double corner. 25-21 is also very powerful, but again, there was a plan of the purpose, and it worked. 6-9, which I believe is what Sergio thought was losing at the time. 23-19, but this 1-6 will lose here instead after 19-15. And then again, Sergio going 13-17. And now this 18-15, allowing the 2 for 2, which is correct. The best. It was the best move on the board. 6-9. So yeah, 6-9 is a star move, right, Patrick? 6-9 was the key. That was the key move. Sergio thought it was bad. It was the only move, I think. So then after 20-24, 29-25, going into the dog hole, I think, again, 31-27 is probably also good. But, again, the king majority is going to be secured here with Alex, again, the pivotal 22-26, allowing the draw. Okay. Thanks, Patrick. Yeah, so 6-9 is key. 26-23, 20-24. Okay, yeah, so 20-24. And yeah, so that in that analysis with the 20-24 move, Sergio was afraid of that 32-28. I believe that's what he was saying in his post-game analysis with Brian and Alex. I think he was afraid of the 32-28 backing, which is why he didn't play 20-24. Thanks, Timothy. I appreciate it. So much to learn, so much to look forward to learn. Yeah, I appreciate it, Timothy. And again, we're all here as a resource. If you have any questions about any of the videos, just put a comment in and I will reply. But yeah, welcome to this wonderful, great game. So I'll pause for a minute here. Again, I know I went pretty quickly here. And certainly I need to slow down and make sure all my jumping sequences are okay. I'm getting ahead of myself in some of these games. It may be worth showing the first game just so you can see what that looks like. Yeah, 32-28, 7-10. Yes, correct. And I believe, yes, I showed that earlier, Patrick, that I think that 7-10 exchange was correct to draw. So I don't know I think Sergio had still mentioned he was concerned about that. Clint was saying Alex has to make many star moves in a row. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it just goes to show you what a brutal opening it is. My goodness. I don't envy that at all. Well, let's go over so you can see that defense that Sergio did in that first game in the morning session with that 18-14. I'll show it from the red side so that you can look at that defense. But this was classic published play. Nothing too radical about it. And again, at that time, Sergio was still up 3-2. So he's obviously playing. He's playing the draw, but certainly not looking for any kind of major complications. All right, so 12-16, 22-18, 16-20 was the opening, and then 18-14. It's a good move. I'm not sure if it's recommended in the majority of texts, but it is. I mean, it's a very good sound move, very good defensive move. I'm gonna have to do my shorthand jumps in this live stream so I don't lose track of anything here. I still may lose track, but okay. So now you can run off. That's typically what is best here, is just to run off the pieces, and that's exactly what happens here with 1-6. Next 30-26, 6-9 again. Once you start the runoff, you really need to complete it. That's kind of a good thing to know in checkers as well. It's kind of hard to pivot mid runoff. It's best just to continue the motion of it. So again, run off. And now you run off and stop at this point. 11-15, 24-19 is played. Exchange off. 8-11, 29-25, 6-10, 30-26. And now I believe 7-10 was played first, 19-16, and then 10-15 next. Simplify matters. And then simplifying it even more with 27-24 exchange. And then after 4-8, 26-22, 10-14, 25-21, and 8-12, solid draw. Solid draw at this point. So, yeah, when will Sergio defend his title again? That's a good question, Timothy. So this was a unique title defense in the sense that it was an independent challenge. And I believe it was the first independent challenge issued in the WCDF era, which began in 2003. So typically, the challenger would be the winner of the world qualifying match or tournament, which I believe, and again, Shane, if you're still watching, Patrick, you may know this as well, I'm not sure when that is going to be held because I know there's been some rescheduling because of the pandemic. But I believe it's supposed to be held this year. I'm not 100% sure. So likely Sergio will have to defend his title again either next year or the following year, whoever wins that tournament. And if Alex Moiseyev plays in that tournament and wins it, then he would challenge Sergio again. But this was an independent challenge. Didn't Alex have to reschedule the match for 3 years? This match for 3 years? I don't know. Patrick. Free move should be held this year. Okay, that's what I thought, Shane. That's what I thought, but I know the pandemic really switched some scheduling and calendars around, so I'm not 100% sure. But Shane, I believe you. So in that case, the qualifier would be held this year, and then Sergio would have to defend his title next year. So he'll have to defend his title in 2023 then, which doesn't seem like a whole lot of time. But again, this was an independent challenge that was issued and accepted. That's what makes it a bit unique. Shane, are you going to play? Are you planning on playing in the qualifier? For those, again, a lot of you know in the chat, but Shane is a phenomenal player. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's like an official calendar, but I imagine we'll probably get some updates. I get all my source from J.R. Smith's website. That's where I see all the calendar events. His is usually most up to date. So this was fun. I hope you all enjoyed the session here. I'll probably wrap up shortly, but Shane or Patrick or anyone else watching, if you want to talk about anything specifically, I'm happy to kind of go through it. Shane. Yeah. Well, and I think, what was it? I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed, but I think Sergio was paid a large sum of money up front for the independent match, and then they split the winnings after that 60-40. Yes. Don't want to travel, do the. Okay. I understand, Shane. I respect that. Hopefully, we'll be out of this mess sooner rather than later, so we can be back to our regularly scheduled checker programming tournament schedule this year. Yeah. So I know Tennessee's coming up in the U.S. at least. And the Irish Open was recently held. And yeah, so Tennessee is coming up here. I'm not sure if Illinois State is still going on. And I'm not sure when North Carolina, Virginia will even be. It's usually held in May, or at least North Carolina is, but I'm not sure what is going to be held this year. We may be just putting that toward November. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, again, I'll pause for a couple minutes here. I enjoyed this live stream, and I hope you all did as well. It is recorded, so you can go back and rewatch it. But again, what a great match from these two great players. Just a treat for all of us to watch. Again, I want to thank everyone involved in it, and it was just great to talk on the phone, send messages to a number of checker friends, people that I haven't talked to in a while and haven't seen in a while in tournaments. So that's always it's a great treat. It's a great community here. The checkers community is really great. So again, I'll wrap up in just a couple minutes. I'll wait to see if anyone has anything else in the chat. Otherwise, thanks again for watching. And I will start. I'll still live stream from time to time, and especially for the 11-man ballot World Championship match coming up against Alex Moiseyev and Alex Holmes. That is going to be held February 21st through the 25th. So hope to see many of you on the live stream at that point. But yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Thomas, thank you. It's always a treat to engage with you all and talk checkers. And yeah, Thomas, I know it's been asked too from a number of players, but yeah, I'll try to get online even later this afternoon. I'll try to play some games on Play OK. I haven't been to Flyer Die in a long time, but I'll get on Play OK. So be good just to play some games. So okay, well everyone, thanks everyone. Yeah, no, thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate you both. Thanks, Patrick, Zebra, everyone else watching. And until next time. I'll see you again real soon.